Hello, Just Too Good here, and today I'm listing 5 instances of LEGO losing licenses to other building toy brands. For example, Thomas the Tank Engine had construction sets with LEGO first, starting in 2005, but lost the license to Mega Bloks, who started releasing sets in 2010. All music tracks will be listed in the bottom right hand corner as I play, and without further ado, let's get into this. First on the list is the Spongebob SquarePants license. The first LEGO Spongebob sets came out in 2006, and the theme ended in 2012 with a total of 14 sets. However, in fall 2014, Mega Bloks began releasing Spongebob construction sets. I have to say, Mega Bloks is giving a lot more love to Spongebob than LEGO ever did. With LEGO, in the theme's lifetime, we had 2 sets a year, 3 if we were lucky. However, Mega Bloks has numerous blind bag series for SpongeBob, sets from the second movie, so many more SpongeBob characters than LEGO ever had, and at least 10 sets per year. Everything I wish I got from the LEGO theme. Well, I mean, besides 2016, which only has 4 sets so far for Mega Bloks. And the SpongeBob minifigures for Mega Bloks were miles more accurate and customizable than the LEGO minifigures. Of course, Mega Bloks doesn't have a figure style anywhere near the level of iconicity this LEGO minifigure is, so it made sense for LEGO to stick to the minifigure design even with a property filled with wacky shaped characters and designs like SpongeBob. And hey, a lot of the sets are similar. You have your Krusty Krabs and Pineapple Houses, but a really odd coincidence is both construction brands have a buildable SpongeBob sets. However, the LEGO version looks so much better than the Mega Bloks version, which releases this year. That version looks friggin' weird. In 2002, LEGO released its first sets from the original Sam Raimi SpiderMan movies, a property of Sony Motion Picture Group, but these were under the LEGO Studios line. The theme continued into 2003 and 2004, where it became its own theme. Heck, there were 2 sets for the movie released under the 4 Juniors line in 2004. However, in 2007, Columbia Pictures and Sony signed with Mega Bloks to create a line of sets for the final film of the trilogy, Spider-Man 3. These sets range from barely resembling scenes from the film to, what the heck are these? They look like bootleg toys, TBH. And then in summer 2012, Mega Bloks released sets to coincide with Sony's The Amazing Spider-Man movie. These were more faithful, and the sets that weren't based on the movie looked less bootleg. What was particularly odd was that in summer 2012, LEGO also released a Spider-Man set, but it was based on the new television show Ultimate Spider-Man. This is the only instance I can recall where LEGO released sets featuring a character the same year a rival building toy company did. Funny enough, in 2014, LEGO sort of had the license for Amazing Spider-Man 2 sets as they released one promo polybag to coincide with the film, which had the film's Electro. In the late 90s, LEGO cooperated with RoseArt to release puzzles and board games based on various LEGO themes. These include, but were not limited to, a LEGO Time Cruisers game in 1997, a LEGO Creator board game in 1999, and a LEGO Bionicle game in 2001. However, in 2005, RoseArt was bought out by the company. Which company, may you ask? Mega Bloks. Following that, Mega Bloks and RoseArt became the subsidiary of a bigger company, Mega Brands, which is a subsidiary of an even bigger company, Mattel. Mega Brands began releasing all RoseArt products from then on, and of course, LEGO seized their partnership with RoseArt. It would have been a terrible idea to continue work with their primary competitor, so I don't blame them. Either way, the Bionicle game was re-released in 2006, but under a different company this time, University Games. One of the most popular examples of LEGO losing a license to Mega Bloks is with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sets. However, did you know that it was originally started with Mega Bloks having the license? In 2003, Mega Bloks released their first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sets, based under the 2003 4Kids TMNT show. However, the theme ended in 2004. Then in 2013, LEGO acquired the license for the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles show, which continued into 2014, where there were also sets based on the first live-action Ninja Turtles film from Nickelodeon movies. There was also a set released under the LEGO Juniors line. Then in 2016, Mega Bloks began releasing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sets based on the same show as LEGO did, as well as sets from the classic show and from the second movie in the Nickelodeon movies franchise. Much like with SpongeBob, the 2016 Ninja Turtles line from Mega Bloks had a lot more going for it than the 2 years of LEGO Ninja Turtles. With LEGO, we never had sets from collectors based on the original Ninja Turtles show or comics, and we only had 15 retail sets altogether. Mega Bloks Ninja Turtles collector line has 15 sets in only 2016 already, with over 30 additional sets released in 2016 for their kid-centric Ninja Turtles line. That's pretty darn impressive. Last up on the list is the National Basketball Association license. LEGO released the infamous LEGO licensed NBA sets under the LEGO Sports line in 2003. These only lasted a year, and many LEGO fans nowadays criticize the line for their odd-looking minifigures. While some wish LEGO would do a take on NBA once again with their current construction set style, it's not possible as another company has the construction toy license for NBA. The company is The Bridge Direct, which is producing NBA sets under its C3 construction toy line. C3 also produces WWE and Shopkins construction sets. There's some court sets, but also locker sets and even blind bags. Unlike LEGO, these C3 NBA figures are much more posable, so there's a lot more opportunity for a play experience closer to basketball than LEGO had. But these were just really display pieces, oddly enough. The line actually still continues to this day. Anyway, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this shorter list. If you know more examples, share them in the comment section below. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.